Welcome to our show, Deutsch.0, bringing you all the news the Reich wouldn't want you to hear. I'm your host, Kyle Groshaus, and today we're going to be talking a little about this new movie, Munchausen. Now, apparently, after spending just about, 6.5 million marks, we actually have a film to, quell ourselves after that little mishap at Stalingrad. So sit back, relax, let's check out a little bit about this new Wunder film in action.
Es heißt das schon einige Male, Ärzte, das Leben ist ja so kurz.
Wow, that was exciting. And I'm not being sarcastic, Goebbels, if you're watching. And here with us today, we've got the director of Munchausen, Joseph von Baki. Well, Joseph, we know you're Hungarian, and we hope the propaganda office didn't put too many limitations on you before you got here.
Oh no, aside from not being able to speak my mind politically, my time here has been great. You see, when I was talking to UFA about making my next film, they definitely encouraged me to look at something that was tied stronger to the German people, as well as giving them a method of escape from the war surrounding them.
Yeah, I can understand that. I kind of want to escape too.
We wanted to incorporate a traditional German story that everyone knows, and then make it fun. Using color in the style that we did, we wanted people to keep going to the theaters and appreciate German culture and something from their past.
Yeah, that's right. I remember reading the tales of Baron Munchausen as a kid.
Yeah, the outrageously far-fetched stories about Baron Munchausen's adventures could easily be exaggerated, especially in motion picture.
Okay, so I've got to ask about it. But this film looks a lot like some other fantasy, American, color film starring Judy Garland that I've heard about. Any input on that?
Well, UFA, the cinematographers, and myself wanted to show off the new Agfa color that was debuted during the Summer Olympics in Berlin. We definitely wanted to be creative, and introducing the fantasy genre was definitely a way to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Herr Baki. We've appreciated your input on this marvelous film. We know you're not German, but I think Munchausen will leave anyone hungry for more. I know. I like puns too. And, not that we wouldn't trust von Baki, but we decided to bring in a film critic and someone that writes for the entertainment section of Das Reich, Carolina Frankhauser. Carolina. Okay, Carolina. I know we couldn't force it out of Baki, but tell me, does this have anything to do with The Wizard of Oz?
Well, I can tell you this. The films came out less than 4 years of each other. They both take you to a fantasy world, both being in color, might I add, and both films deal with the theme of homeland and homecoming. But I'm not allowed to tell any of that to you for the sake of my job at Das Reich.
Okay, so say I was going to go to the theater today and watch Munchausen. Would I be expecting to see basically the same film?
Well, in a lot of respects, yes. The main feature I talked about in my article is this new idea of a fantasy comedy film in Germany. On November 14th, only 3 years ago, Goebbels directly called for more humor in the mass media. I quote, This is the best thing to see us through difficult times. We are taking everything so dreadfully seriously. It harms morale. And if there's one thing that can see people through difficult times, it's humor. And a fantasy world would be the best place to take people to experience it. Fantasy and comedy go hand in hand.
All right, so I got you. You got a little comedy, you got a little fantasy. Can you give us some more specific examples?
Definitely. Just look at the beginning of The Wizard of Oz. The farmland filmed in black and white traditional film is obviously a stark contrast between it and the colorful Munchkin land in Technicolor. You can see a direct comparison with the darker usages of colors in the story that did not directly follow Munchausen versus the over-the-top story of the Tales of the Baron. Even the characters are similar. The wizard gave all of the main characters gifts, and Cagliostro gives the Baron a magical ring that enables him to turn invisible, and he provides him with the ability to never age. It is also notable that both Munchausen and Dorothy arrived to their fantasy worlds via magical ways. Munchausen essentially arrives into the world of the Turks on a cannonball, and Dorothy arrives in Oz by a tornado. Both are over the top and exaggerated and offer the concept of an escape from reality.
All right, thanks, Carolina. We hope you don't get fired for saying what you did.
You're welcome, and yeah, me too.
Okay, we'll see you after a short break. Lugan Baron? More like fail Baron. Am I right? But seriously, that's about as far as away from a Gastarbeiter, an opposite of that you could probably get. So in today's film redemption, we've decided to fly him out here to Babelsberg Studio and see what happens. Okay, Baron, enough of your tricks. Where exactly are we?
It's just an old vacation spot of mine, Carl.
Well, even though they call you the Lugan Baron, guess I'll have to believe you on that one.
You know, why you don't believe I can't shoot a gun 10 miles with perfect accuracy, turn invisible, or ride a cannonball from here to Turkey is beyond me. Although, between you and me, Carl, I would have been fine with hitting the Russians instead.
Well, you know, Dorothy almost rode away in a hot air balloon. She did find her way back to home sweet home in Kansas by those magical ruby red slippers after escaping from the witches and those darn flying monkeys. Big time fantasy here. So, tell me this, Munchausen. Do you think this rivals your world?
Sounds to me like she was just a crazy little girl. I'm the Baron of Munchausen. I control my own destiny. I'm the best there is, Carl.
You know what? Even though we're in a fantasy world on the moon, I still don't believe you can shoot over 10 miles with a gun. So tell you what, if you can prove it to me, I'll help you with that film redemption of yours. What do you think about that?
Fair enough. Check this out.
Reibung. Der Förster hinterm Baum. Jetzt hebt er das Gewehr.
Okay, well, tell you what. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Metaphorically, of course. The people at my studio made a director's cut of the film. That is, if you consider me a director. So, here's the version they're screening in Turkey. Wait, let me guess. You did not see that coming, right? Am I right? Am I right? Well, Hitler, before you get your lederhosen in a bind, I recommend you just sit down, have your Luftwaffe and juice for breakfast, and just go watch the film before you make any further judgments. In the meantime, I guess I'd probably better get off the set before I get fired. Actually, I'm being told that's exactly what's happening. So, peace, and auf Wiedersehen.